This is Father Louis Masi. On today's episode of Friday with the Fathers, the Eucharist, and the Early Church, we're going to consider St. Clement of Alexandria. Clement was born in the year 150 in Athens, Greece. His parents were pagans, but he converted to Christianity. In the year 180, he found himself in the city of Alexandria. It was in Alexandria that there existed the catechetical school of Alexandria. Clement wound up becoming the head of this school and the bishop of Alexandria, and one of Clement's students was the famous theologian Origen, who became one of the greatest scriptural interpreters in the history of the Church. A number of Clement's writings have come down to us, two of which have citations about the Eucharist. In the first citation on the Eucharist, Clement is speaking about the Old Testament priest Melchizedek. Clement says, "Melchizedek, king of Salem, is priest of the Most High God, who gave bread and wine, furnishing consecrated food for a type of the Eucharist." What does Clement mean by a type of the Eucharist? Well, in the literary sense, a type is a symbol of something greater to come. So Clement is saying that the bread and the wine that is offered in sacrifice by the priest Melchizedek is a symbol of something greater, the Eucharist, which is to come much later on. And so, whereas what was offered by Melchizedek was common bread and wine, the Eucharist must be something greater. It has to be something different if the bread and wine offered by Melchizedek was simply a type of the Eucharist. St. Clement goes on to speak more about the Eucharist. He says, "And the blood of the Lord is twofold, for there is the blood of his flesh, by which we are redeemed from corruption, and the spiritual, that by which we are anointed. And to drink the blood of Jesus is to become partaker of the Lord's immortality, the Spirit being the energetic principle of the Word, as blood is of flesh. Accordingly, as wine is blended with water, so is the Spirit with man. And the one, the mixture of wine and water, nourishes to faith, while the other, the Spirit, conducts to immortality. And the mixture of both, of the water and of the Word, is called Eucharist, renowned and glorious grace, and they who by faith partake of it are sanctified both in body and soul. For the divine mixture, man, the Father's will has mystically compounded by the Spirit and the Word. For in truth, the Spirit is joined to the soul, which is inspired by it, and the flesh, by reason of which the Word became flesh, to the Word." In the passage we just read from St. Clement, we can see that his focus is on the benefits of receiving the Eucharist. In the first instance, he says that those who drink the blood of the Lord are made partakers of immortality. He could have simply said that the blood of the Lord shed for us on Mount Calvary on that Good Friday is what won us immortality, but he says that we need to drink that blood. He goes on a few lines later to say something very similar. He says that in partaking of the Eucharist, we are sanctified in body and soul. So again, the focus is on receiving this sacrament, receiving this Eucharist in order to be sanctified. Now, if we weren't convinced at this point that St. Clement truly believes that the Eucharist is the body and the blood of the Lord, all we would have to do is read the next passage. In the next passage, St. Clement talks about wine, and he expresses an opinion about drinking wine. He says that in general, we should not drink wine because it leads to drunkenness and other forms of immorality. Now, if St. Clement believed that the Eucharist was simply wine and nothing more than that, then he would have contradicted himself in basically the same paragraph. So we can tell from what St. Clement said about Melchizedek, from what he says explicitly about the blood of the Lord and the Eucharist, and then afterwards what he says about wine, that St. Clement truly believes that the Eucharist is Jesus' body and his blood, and that the Eucharist gives to us some beautiful things: immortality and the sanctification of our bodies and our souls. God bless.